Hey guys, sorry about the lack of content on here. Long story short, I've restructured the ship and I'm ready to get things back on track. So, what are we looking at here?
The birth of an alicorn is something Equestria has never seen.
It is beyond even our understanding.
Son of a... It's gonna be one of those seasons, isn't it? So, here's a question I get asked a lot on my Tumblr and Twitter. Why don't I consider the comics canon? Well, for one, because the comic staff don't. The main editor, Bobby Kernrow, says that the show is canon to the comic, but the comics aren't canon to the show, so at best we can consider them alternate universe. As a result, the main show keeps shutting down potentially cool plot threads that are explored in the comics. It's part of the reason I stopped reading them. It's really frustrating because the comics and even the books do add a lot to the show's lore, and I can't count most of them as part of the official canon because of contradictions. Now, I'm not going to be so entitled as to demand MCU-level consistency from a little girl's cartoon about magical ponies. That said, it'd be nice if both show and comic stuff were on the same page in terms of lore, something magical aggression laws. However, that's not why you're here. Let's talk about this little moment that has everyone up in arms. It apparently confirms that Celestia and Luna weren't born alicorns.
The birth of an alicorn is something Equestria has never seen.
There were a million ways to phrase that, and you had to pick that one. Alright, I will attempt to evince a feeble rebuttal to this contemporary notion through the use of logical technicalities and cogent semantics. By that I mean I'm grasping at straws. Let's do this. Technically, Equestria was never called Equestria until the unification of the three pony tribes as shown in Hearthswarming Eve. Celestia could have been referring to the time since then, which could explain the contradiction, but then we get Luna's line.
It is beyond even our understanding.
Gosh darn it, Luna, you make everything so difficult! Well, I do have a postulation. Luna could just mean they don't understand how having an alicorn baby from a unicorn-alicorn couple is possible. Now, this does raise a lot of questions about Celestia and Luna's love life, but frankly, that's none of our business. Now, if, and I use a big fat if, we consider the books to be mere supplementary canon to the main show, then we should take a look at The Journal of the Two Sisters by Amy Keating Rogers. In this, we see that alicorns used to be a tribe, before they suddenly vanished. Kinda glossed over, actually. But this reinforces the idea of Celestia and Luna's ignorance. They probably didn't know an alicorn could be born from a unicorn and an alicorn sharing fondue. Celestia and Luna were very young when they became the only two alicorns for 1,000 years, so that could also explain how this is beyond their understanding, as it were. So yeah, there are interpretations of these lines that still keep the alicorn birth of the princesses intact. It's a stretch, but it's still valid. And even then, both Amy Keating Rogers and Lauren Faust have said that Celestia and Luna were born alicorns as well. But should Word of God not really matter since it's not technically a part of the actual lore? Well, if that's the case, I guess Dumbledore isn't gay now. It's one or the other, you can't have both. My theory is no one that was privy to this fact proofread the script for clarity. Maybe it was just clumsy wording. After all, this isn't the first time this has happened. Cough, cough, Celestia personally stopping Sovereign knowing how much of the Crystal Empire functions and works despite having limited knowledge of said empire. Cough. But that's a different video. Now, I feel I need to make something clear to the audience. Real talk here. I may be a critic and an analyst, but what I and others say is not always truth. As such, most of us don't like when our videos are used as ammunition in internet slap fights. Just because we sound right and we present it in a simple fashion doesn't mean we are right. There's a difference between observations and speculations, and learning to spot said difference becomes highly recommended. We might as well just end our analysis videos with, but hey, that's just a theory, a pony theory. Thanks for watching. But I suppose you'll have to settle for me saying some variation of taking too seriously.
Right.